Well, howdy there, and good morning. I'm standing here in the middle of the road, up here about 10 miles outside of Forest Ranch. And this is my little place where I come from time to time, and I kind of get a chance to clear my mind and do a little bit of running. Look at all the little no-see-ums. I don't know if you can see them flying around. The little no-see-ums, yep. So last week, this place, believe it or not, was covered with snow. And here's a video to prove it. Well, howdy there, pipe pals and gals, sports fans of all ages. Okay, well, guess what? I am up here in the snow. I really like the snow. Yes, I'm doing my impersonation of Don Bauer, where I'm being a real Scottish man and I'm playing in the snow. Yes, that's right, lads and lassies. Okay, okay, so here we are, and I just got through with my second 1 mile run up here in the snow. And so I just thought I'd take a little bit of a moment and share with you the snow, or the Schnee auf Deutsch. And so here we are in this beautiful winter wonderland. And you know, here I am doing the Wim Hof method in the snow, you know. And I gotta say, it doesn't feel all that bad. It's what a real man does with the snow. Okay, yeah, no, it's just cold, wet snow. That's all it is. Nothing more, nothing less. But it's a beautiful day today. Check this out. God's country. God's country. Can you hear that? God's country. Okay. Oh my gosh, what? Man, what a gorgeous day. What an absolutely gorgeous day. So anyway, I came up here. This is about 30 miles outside of Chico, a place called, well, it's actually above Forest Ranch. And so that's what we're doing. Just taking a day in the snow. So see you later and be cool. Well, good evening, lads and lassies. Holy smoking pipe padre, back at you. Well, it's a wonderful, a beautiful February evening, February the 6th, 2018. And I'm smoking one of my ancient calabash pipes here. And I'm drinking an adult beverage in my new Scottish hot piping coffee cup there. Okay, well, it's just me, old Holy Smoking Pipe Padre. It's been quite a while since my last video. And so let me just take a moment here to get the old pipe going here. Packing's the key. Packing's everything, right? Well, I'm going to be showing you I'm doing the Germain's plum cake, and really enjoying this still. I'm going to try to finish this up before it goes completely, I wouldn't say stale, but it's starting to lose some of its a beautiful overtones. But it still is quite delicious. Okay, so I'm going to, got something different in this cup tonight. I'll talk to you about that in just a moment. Ooh, that's good. Quite good indeed. So as you can see from the couple of videos I've showed before this one, still been doing quite well. I don't know if I'm doing how. There's something strange outside the house there. I'm doing okay. I just realized that, making pipe videos, even though I still enjoy it from time to time. Oops, sorry about that. I wouldn't make it as a regular YouTuber. I mean, although I like making YouTube videos, unfortunately, people that I watch a lot and enjoy from time to time, they're a lot more prolific than I am. And there was a time I probably would make at least a video a week. It kind of cut back to about maybe once every other week, and now it's almost like, do I dare say, like once a month. And I know that if you really want to have a quote-unquote popular channel or a channel that's followed quite regularly, you got to be putting out content all the time. And I have to say that in many ways I wish I had more time to devote to this endeavor, this little avocation of mine. Sharing about the hobby of pipes, and want to thank I think it was Joe and Nancy who gave me this a couple of years ago when I left Good Shepherd. And anyway, sad to say I lost contact with them, but anyway, a nice couple, and so I love this thing. This thing is ancient. I don't know how old it is. It's probably 80 to 100 years old. I think Joe told me, he says, well, I got this old calabash, and it was my grandfather's, and Joe was like my age, and he said it was probably 80 years old when his grandfather smoked it. So anyway, I just love this pipe. I love all my calabashes. Great smoke too. Great smoke. And it goes good with my secret beverage here. And I'll tell you more about that in just a moment, as I said. Woo. And it is piping hot, lads and lassies, to be sure. Okay, so but again, being an ongoing YouTuber, you just have to do, well, you got to love your channel. And I think most YouTubers, they love the channel, they love the community that they're in. And I'm no exception. It's just that I just don't have, I wouldn't say it's, well, maybe it is the energy. I just, I wish I had more time to come up with newer, interesting things to talk about, new ways to present things. I look at a lot of really, again, professional YouTubers, and I think, well, whether it's this channel or my other channel, my spiritual channel, my homily channel, and again, my homily channel, I probably do a little bit more creative stuff there. I'm focusing basically just on the readings for the Mass of that Sunday, so it's kind of easy to be focused, where this channel is a little bit more casual, a little more informal. It tends to be a little more, I can sometimes play around and just be a little bit more spontaneous sometimes, and just kind of have fun, and share my opinions, as I am probably going to do tonight. I had a couple of people who sent me some comments, and again, thanks for all the comments. And I'd like to know what your thoughts are on some of the things that I talk about, whether it is just strictly with the pipes, or the pipe related things. I have to say I'm a little disappointed right now, because here in California, seems like tobacco prices went through the roof. And I was getting a couple of my favorite cigars, and paying $5 on top of what I was paying, just a year ago. So that's like, oh my gosh, I just, it's becoming a less and less. I had one cigar today. I was watching that new movie, Darkest Hour, and I really enjoyed that. Probably maybe even talk about that in the course of this video. It's interesting. We're seeing a lot of interesting British history, whether you're talking about the Netflix The Crown series, which I think is actually quite good. A lot of interesting things that came out of that series, and I guess for the most part, again, some things you have to remember. We all have to remember that everything is subjective. So, you may have a different take. Historians have things that they want to emphasize. Some people have conspiracy theories mixed in with history, so again, how accurate, how truly historical and factual certain things are, well, a lot of it is interpretation, and we have to remember that. But nonetheless, it is history. As long as people are trying to give you an objective, if that's even possible, an objective view of history, So, but anyway, so I was watching the Winston Churchill movie with Gary Oldman. Talk about a tremendous character actor he is. So anyway, I had a cigar, and I thought, well, I'll smoke it while I watch that. So I did that. So I have to say, I really enjoyed that movie. I got kind of choked up on a couple of occasions, and it wasn't anything. Sometimes movies, like if you watch a romance, a heartbreaker, a tearjerker, they're going to be looking for that moment to really grab your heart, and squeeze it, And I don't think this movie was trying to be overly sentimental, but after watching Dunkirk, I watched that a couple weeks back. And that was very, very, it kind of made you feel prideful, I'm not prideful, but pride, you felt pride in the fact that those people, average, English, British fishermen, took their boats and went and rescued those soldiers. And so anyway, but this movie was pretty good. Now, maybe I'll talk a little bit about that in context of what I want to share about some other things. Okay, so let's get to it. You saw me in the beginning of the video up in the Highlands here in Northern California, the Highlands. And I was up there playing in the snow, the schnee. And the thing that was interesting was that a week later it was all gone, sad to say. We're going through some really bizarre warm weather patterns, and we should be getting a lot more rain and a lot more snow, and it's all the snow pretty much except for the higher elevations, the normal elevations where we normally have snow this time of year, it's gone. And that's kind of scary, folks, kind of scary. So anyway, but I was up there, and again, as a result of the last couple of months taking cold showers and watching some people, promote that whole thing, and I'm still taking cold showers if you're interested. If you're not, that's okay too. And I think that in some ways I kind of discovered when I was taking the cold showers that, my morning cup of coffee, which I love, wasn't necessary that much because I was already fully awake, and wow, I felt energized after my morning cold shower. I don't need a cup of coffee, which now leads me to this. This here, instead of being coffee, it's some spicy cinnamon tea, basically, and it's non-caffeine. So last year was the very first year in my life where I was able to give up coffee, and again, I am a true coffeeaholic. And I love my coffee. I love my coffee with my heavy cream. Oh man, that's a real treat. And I love it. And although I used to drink cup after cup after cup, I kind of got it down to where I was having like basically 2 cups a day, 1 in the morning and then 1 in the early afternoon to give me that little bit of that pick me up and kind of prevent me from getting the headaches. Well, last year I finally said, I had tried years before to give up coffee because I knew I was addicted to it. Now, it's not like alcohol or drugs in the sense where it incapacitates you. Coffee actually helps me function, and I love it. I just absolutely adore a great, good cup of coffee. Always have, and I always will. But last year, I really did a lot of soul searching, and I said, well, I really need to see if I can at least go without it and go through those withdrawals, because oh man, they're miserable, let me tell you. Well, next week, as many of you out there know, in TV land and Pipeland, next Wednesday, just about a week from today, will be a week from today will be Fat Tuesday, because Wednesday morning we wake up to the holy season of Lent. And so, sports fans, I decided last year I was going to really see if I could do it. And then no matter how much pain and misery, I was going to try to go through and get, weaned off of caffeine, coffee. Well, I did it. Man, but it was painful. It was difficult. I don't know why it was, but it hurt. It really hurt. My head was hurting. I felt like I had the flu times 10, the power of 10. I felt absolutely lousy, miserable. So, just a little touch of tuberculosis, that's all. So anyway, but I did it. And I have to say, that was probably one of the few things about that vegan, quote-unquote, vegan diet thing that I did last year. Because all the vegans were saying, you got to really get off coffee. You just got to get off coffee, So anyway, and I was trying this vegan diet, and I was trying it with all my heart and soul. And, I think it was Dr. Joel Furman and Dr. McDougall, Dr. McNutty, Dr. McNoodle. Those guys were really kind of coming down on coffee, and you got to, get it out of your system, and it was, adding to all your other problems. Well, okay, I said, all right, I'll try. So I actually went through that first week of Lent, and I was miserable. Well, this year, I've been thinking about it again, even though I'm not doing a vegan diet. I just watched an interesting video by Don Bauer, and I don't want to, not that he would ever watch this video channel at all, but and I would never want to appear to be attacking or taking his words out of context. But his latest video from February 6th was interesting because he was kind of saying, well, I'm going to tell on myself, I'm going to confess or whatever, that sometimes being a vegan for him is a real challenge from a dietary standpoint, because you can't eat a lot of certain things that most other people take for granted and they eat, because it has either some kind of an animal product or animal byproduct, even to include honey of all things. And so anyway, but I remember last year when I was trying that vegan diet, and so I did give up coffee, and I have to tell you the truth, at first it was extremely painful, but each day got a little bit better. And so once I finally got off of it, I felt good about myself. I felt like, okay, that was something that was hard for you to do, and yet you did it. Now, on Easter Sunday morning, I certainly knew what I was going to have when I started my celebration of Easter, and coffee was probably the first thing that I had Sunday morning, and it was glorious. Glorious. It was wonderful. Well, anyway, so next week we start Lent, and I like the way the Byzantine, Eastern Catholics kind of do it. They don't just jump into Lent, on Ash Wednesday, after a big blowout on, Fat Tuesday, and you drink yourself, your liver's going to be like, oh my gosh, what did I do to myself, and you're, your fatty liver, and you've got, all your gluten intolerance just floating through your bloodstream and all that good stuff. They kind of take a couple weeks to gently acclimate themselves to Lent. So they give up 1 week, they give up meat, they have meat fair Sunday, and then the next week they have cheese fair Sunday, where they say goodbye to all dairy products and cheese and milk and cream and, clotted cream and, and creme fraiche and all that glorious stuff that a lot of us just love. So knowing that next week is Ash Wednesday and Lent, I decided, okay, do I really want to start Ash Wednesday and, next week starting this whole giving up the caffeine thing? And after last year, I said, no, I don't want to go through the first week of Lent miserable. So bit the bullet, and 48 hours ago, just about 48 hours ago, maybe a little more now, I had my last cup of coffee about 7 o'clock at night. Well, it's about 7 o'clock, 10 till, so almost 48 hours. Oh, and I had it was glorious. I mean, it was fresh brewed, pour over, heavy whipping cream. Oh man, I made the last cup, and I drank it, and I just enjoyed every little mouthful. So the last 48 hours, oh my gosh, I have been going through caffeine withdrawals. Now, for some strange reason, have they been painful? Yeah, but I kind of expected that. I even went for a run. I went up to the Helands again, and did a interval run today, which at first I thought was going to kill me, but it was okay. Once I got into it, it wasn't bad. So anyway, I'm doing, I'm giving it up again. So today I really wanted to give in and just say, oh, to heck with it. I'm going to go get a cup of coffee and just say it. I did it last year. I don't need to do it this year. But something said, no, don't do that. Now tomorrow, Wednesday, I may wake up and it might be horrendous. Third day is usually the worst. But we'll see, and again, now that I've kind of invested almost 48 hours, and I'm kind of almost at that tipping point where you kind of got really, really bad, but then it starts to peter out, and then you start getting on the downhill side. And once you do, you feel pretty good. Okay. So, I think I'm definitely going to do it. And now that I'm kind of committed myself to giving up coffee for Lent, and I've kind of got an early start, next Wednesday when I wake up, I'm not going to be going through the headache, caffeine withdrawals, and all that malaise and misery that goes through getting weaned off of caffeine. So I'm feeling pretty good about that. So right now, touch wood, I'm doing okay. I was feeling a little, yesterday was bad. Today wasn't. Today was about the same. It was maybe a little less. And so maybe my body kind of now is kind of acclimated to going through the withdrawals, and it's not as bad. So we'll see. But I remember last year by Thursday afternoon I was feeling almost okay. Friday I had like a little bit of a rebound, and then by Friday afternoon, evening, it was almost gone again. And by Saturday and Sunday of that first week of Lent, it wasn't too bad. So I'll have a week, 10 days head start, so I'm going to feel pretty good about that. Wow. So, okay. So, I guess the one thing I wanted to maybe talk about, kind of keeping in keeping in the spirit of the upcoming season of Lent, Great Lent, and giving things up, and people say I'm giving up chocolate, and I'm giving up or I'm giving up caffeine or whatever. Now, if I didn't have an actual physical addiction to caffeine, I probably wouldn't give it up, because there'd be like no real reason to give it up, But again, Lent is, I think there's a lot more that goes on in Lent than just giving things up. Now, in the last 20 years or so, people have kind of almost have a little bit of a contemptuousness for quote unquote, when people say they're giving things up. They kind of have that, well, that's not really the point of Lent. Lent's about doing things, positive things. And that's true. But it's not just that either. So, when you think you finally figured out what Lent is all about, then you find out, well, maybe there's more to it than just that. Okay, so Lent is supposed to be a time, essentially, where we draw closer to God. That's basically it. We open ourselves up to discover new facets of how God works in the natural world and in our world, and and I think a lot of times we get so distracted with our daily lives. I get distracted. I mean, I can even get distracted with church things, I mean, you might say, what does that mean? How can that be a distraction? Is that what you're supposed to be doing? Well, sometimes you do. I mean, sometimes you have problems in the church that aren't really quote unquote spiritual. The toilet overflows, or the lights don't go on, or a window's broken, or just kind of average things. But it's now something you have to attend to. And again, you can maybe see it as helping other people in the long run, maybe, and then again, it's all positive. It's not a negative. But at the same time, there's more to Lent than just either giving up something or doing something. Lent is a really, it's kind of a mystical process, I really think. And it's not really contingent upon maybe doing things, whether not doing something negative or doing something positive. I mean, we are called in the season of Lent to be open to alms giving, works of charity, reading spiritual readings and prayer, and yes, and corporal works of mercy. Those are all part of it.
You're listening to Cap Radio.
But it's not like the end all in the be all. It's a much bigger canvas, I think. And again, I mean, I don't even know. I mean, speaking, as somebody who's lived many seasons of Lent and has had different experiences during those seasons. It's to say I know what Lent is all about. Well, not really. I mean, I know about the components of Lent, but again, like I said, it's like saying, you stand on the edge of an ocean and you think, now I know the ocean. Well, you haven't even discovered anything. You can see the ocean, and you can kind of point out certain maybe land features, or you can say, well, kind of know where my directions are. That's east or that's west, or and you maybe can even navigate a little bit on the seas there with a sailboat or something. I don't know, but to say that now that you know the ocean is kind of ludicrous, because you don't. You have no concept really what's underneath the water, and even if you can snorkel or do some scuba diving, you're only going to be limited to maybe half an hour, or who knows, I don't know how long you can go down. It depends on how deep you go. But again, you're only going to discover for yourself a couple of little sections of that part of the ocean that maybe that you can dive, and that's about it. Again, it's vast. It's unfathomable. Completely what's really going on. So anyway, but Lent is a wonderful time, and I always tell people I like Lent. I really do like Lent. And you might say, well, gosh, you're talking about giving up coffee and you're miserable and you got headaches and you're sick, and that doesn't sound like a lot of fun. Well, again, you don't have to physically be, feeling all your toes tingle and everything. I mean, Lent is kind of like a journey. It's like lately I've been kind of getting into this habit of, when I do my outdoor exercises, I travel up to Highway 32, probably about 20-30 minutes drive, and I find a section that's really picturesque and beautiful, and I try to run that, for my 20-30 minutes that I do it. So so in saying that, Lent is kind of a journey, and the journey is part of the process. And in our instant communication world, where we can instantly, reach out to somebody with a phone call, a video phone call, and maybe they're literally thousands of miles away, maybe in another country, maybe it doesn't seem right. It's like, if I want to see somebody that I really love and care about, chances are I'm going to have to do some driving, several hours at least. And I go through this process. And as I'm, going on this journey, it kind of helps me to get ready for my visitation with my friends. And part of that is, and then when I leave them, it's a journey to get back into my world, into my life. So it's a process. It's not just something that's instantaneous. Then I just, okay. So anyway, So where am I going with all this? Well, I've been watching a lot of stuff. One person asked me about what do I feel. He said, "Oh, you shared some of your feelings or your ideas or your opinions about the American presidency and the election last year, and and you talked a little bit about Donald Trump and what do I think a year later." And what I would say. Hold on a second. Yeah, for some reason I got some kind of congestion going on. Maybe I got to give up tea now. Non-caffeinated tea. I got to give that up too. Who knows? What do I think? Well, I have to say, in all honesty, that I am probably maybe a person who's probably of the minority opinion. And I'm going to clarify. I'm going to what's the word here? I'm going to maybe adjust that for in a little bit here. Maybe kind of reevaluate that whole idea of my minority. But vocal minority, probably, that's easy to be said. I think there are a lot of people still in our country who are very angry and very bitter. And unfortunately, I think they're grasping at a lot of magical straws, and they're trying to make something that is not real. They're trying to buy into a lot of non-reality. That's why I really have a hard time with this whole transgender thing. I don't hate people, but I think that to deny basic biology and to have it where you can't even talk against this now, we're going to make this almost kind of like some kind of a right. Little kids who haven't even gone through puberty yet are now being convinced that if they want to be a little boy and they're a little girl, they can be, or if they're a little boy and they want to be a little girl, or vice versa, they can do that too. And that's very, very dangerous. How many times the little kids change their mind? They wake up one morning and say, "Daddy, I want to be a police officer when I grow up." And then late at night, they'll say, "Well, when you're tucking them into bed, I think I really want to be a doctor now." I mean, the kids change their mind all the time. And to say that now you can choose your own, gender, I just think is really dangerous thinking. And it's sort of like, you can believe almost in anything. I want to be a unicorn when I grow up. Okay. Well, I want to be a vegan when I grow up. Okay. So anyway, but a lot of people are subscribing to a lot of, basically it boils down to magical thinking. And so people, because they're angry at what happened in the 2016 election, and they hate Donald Trump. Okay, again, I'm not somebody who thinks he's a great human being. He is the President of the United States. He's trying, I think, in his own way to do the best he can. But I don't hate him, and I didn't vote for him. I have to say that. Okay, I got cut off there. So again, if people are angry, that's on them. But the problem is that people, because they're angry, are not willing to. They're willing to believe almost anything because it kind of undergirds their anger, their righteous indignation. And I just think that, it's really, that's not a good thing. Again, I think I've made an allusion to, it's like a bad divorce when you have two people and they have a falling out and they go through divorce court and everything, and all the friends that used to be mutual, couple friends with this couple, well, now they're forced to kind of sometimes take sides. Well, he's a rat. He's an unfaithful jerk, or she's a gold digger, or she's or maybe she cheated, or maybe she's an alcoholic and a drunk and whatever, and so people sometimes most people probably try to stay neutral, but again, there are people that really will take the sides of the person they feel has been victimized by the person they think is the villain. They turns it into villain and victim, and so the guy is he's the worst thing since Hitler. Okay, doesn't that sound familiar? So, I can tell you that Donald Trump is not Hitler. Donald Trump isn't even a Nazi. Donald Trump is just, he's Donald Trump. I can say that. He's definitely Donald Trump. So, okay. But to hate somebody based on, because you want to hate them, because, you just know in your bones that they're bad. And it's not based on anything objective. That's a problem. And it leads me to what I'm going to talk about a little bit tonight, and then I'll promise this will be the end. This Me Too movement. And and it ties in with Lent, believe it or not. It all ties together. So I was online the other day, and I saw an article by some famous actress, I guess, and she said that turning to the church was the worst thing because the church didn't help her in her victimhood. I guess she's been assaulted. And again, a lot of these allegations, some of them are true. Like the Dr. Larry Nassir thing, that's pretty horrendous. That's pretty egregious. I have to give you that one. That's terrible. There's this middle-aged guy taking advantage of these little girls. That's just wrong. Clearly wrong. And nobody argues that. That's objective. Those are objective facts. There's no way he can even deny. I think he was trying to say that it was an actual medical practice and blah 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 blah, and it was he was doing it under the guise of being a therapy, a legitimate therapy. Well, anyway, that was proven wrong clearly, and he was trying to use his quote unquote medical authority to get away with something that was clearly evil and wrong. But anyway, this one gal, I don't know if she was maybe she was one of the girls that was abused with him, or she was either a movie actress. I can't remember which one. There's so many now. But she said that turning to the church was a big mistake. It was the worst thing because they couldn't help you. They didn't help me. And she said all they wanted to do is talk about, well, you got to forgive. Got to forgive the person, And, okay, guess what? That's the right answer. And unfortunately, because people are angry, they're out for blood. They're not out for justice, they're out for blood. And I can understand. If you've been truly wronged or a loved one's been truly wronged, like there's one dad there who jumped off the docket and tried to beat the crap out of this Dr. Nassir. There's a video on it. And anyway, so they restrained him, but he says, just give me 1 minute with the guy in a closed cell. Just 1 minute, that's all I'm asking. Well, we know what you're going to do. Can't do that. That's not the way the law works, okay? Vigilantes work that way. Get a rope, string him up. Well, that's not the way it works, okay? He's been found guilty, and he's going to go to jail, to prison for the rest of he's going to die in jail, okay? But anyway, so this little gal said that the church was of no help. And I have to ask, well, what did you want the church to do? Okay, it comes down to a lot of this stuff with even the pedophilia cases within the Catholic Church. Well, okay, what is it that you're looking for? And a lot of them will just say they want justice. Well, what does that look like for you? And I almost the priest, in 9 times out of 10 has been removed from ministry. A lot of them have gone to jail. There's 1 or 2 that I know of who went to jail and were killed in jail. I know some people are saying that's a good start. But there is a thing called due process. And a lot of times, I think what people are really wanting is they want vigilantism. They want mob justice. And that's not the way we in the Western world deal with criminality. And so when this gal says that the church was of no help to her, well, I beg to differ because, and I remember kind of having this problem myself, because there's a point when you have been wronged that you talk about forgiveness. It's like, I can forgive in a theoretical sense, but when it comes down to the real personal experiences of my life, and there's been people who have hurt me, there's been a couple of people who have hurt me. I think you have people that have hurt you. Then all of a sudden it gets personal real fast, and then then you're challenged, and you say, well, not for that guy, or that girl, whatever. And that really reveals where you're at. And believe it or not, in many ways, that's what Lent is, I think, is kind of designed to do. It's designed to kind of peel back the layers of the onions that we have that kind of that are protecting our very wounded hearts, because a lot of us probably have wounded hearts. And there have been a lot of people that maybe in our lives, could have been parents, could have been siblings, could have been close friends, could have been spouses, could have been uncles, grandparents, could have been coaches or teachers that have hurt us and wounded us, took advantage of us, molested us, broken our hearts. And we know that deep in our hearts, man, we don't want to forgive them. You want them to drink the worst poison and die of the worst cancer in the whole wide world, while being set on fire and drawn and quartered and their guts being ripped out. That's just a start, right? But believe it or not, when the church tries to give the remedy of what the anger and the bitterness and the hatred that's poisoning our hearts, and it says, well, you have to forgive. Well, actually, what I have to say is not so much I have to forgive, but I have to be willing to be open to allowing God through Jesus to forgive through me. And that's, I think, the real secret. Because when that happens, and again, it could probably take you the rest of your natural life. I believe that real forgiveness on our parts for people that truly have hurt us, wrongfully wounded us and hurt us, it is a minor miracle. Actually, it's not a minor miracle, it is a miracle. Because God has to do something. He has to take that hurtful, broken, wounded, a hard soul, conscience, mind, whatever, and he has to heal it. He has to bring healing to us. But we have to allow that healing. And part of the healing process is letting go of the hatred and the anger and the rage and the bitterness. Because if we hold on to those things, all we do is we get sicker. I'm not saying you have to, take the person and make them your best friend, or forgive them for maybe whatever, betraying you or lying to you, stealing to you, wounding you, whatever they've done to you, molesting you. You can't change that past. You just can't. But you can change the present, and you can change your future by changing your present and being open to a healing process. And again, I think that the reason why we have a lot of anger against Donald Trump is because a lot of people have a lot of deep-seated anger, and they're just using him. He's just kind of like this effigy figure that they're just taking it out on, But they got some really deep-seated anger issues, and they're very, very upset and angry and rageful. And if they want to hold on to that, that's their choice. But I think they're going about it the wrong way. And then, again, a lot of these things that you see, a lot of angry people. Yeah, there are a lot of angry people. And I'm not saying they don't have a right to be angry, but to hold on to the anger and just let it fester, they're the ones that are going to suffer the most, the longest in the end. So anyway, that's what I wanted to share with you guys tonight. I hope you liked the video. Thanks for your comments. Thanks for, thumbs up. Thanks for your thumbs down. Thanks for just watching, and you come back once in a while and you see, oh, there's an old Holy Smoking Pipe Padre video. Wonder what he's up to. And you watch, and so I want to say I appreciate it. Thank you very much for checking out my videos. If I had a little bit more energy these days, who knows, maybe giving up the caffeine this year, I'll find some new energy and just be, bouncing off the walls and just kind of make videos more. I don't know, but we'll see. Anyway, thanks for watching, and we will see you next time. So take care.
Alfredo Rodriguez, an album produced by